Hey, Roamnesia here, and today we're going to be doing a follow-up video to the current state of Pokemon Go, because Pokemon Go just released a Gen 2 update, and there's a lot more to talk about. However, unfortunately, most of it is bad, because today we're going to be talking about why Niantic feels it necessary to kill their own product, because that is the only justification I can find for Niantic making some of the bad decisions that they've continued to make with their product, Pokemon Go. The first thing I want to bring up is that Niantic handles their updates at a snail's pace and has not delivered on some things that we've been promised from the get go. I mean, they have not even delivered on battling and trading, which were in the ad, in the original Pokemon Go ad, the Super Bowl ad. You saw people at least battling. I don't remember if you saw anybody trading, but I remember you saw some people battling, and they've been promising, oh, trading and battling, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And yet here we are, almost a year into it, and something very simple, I mean, something very core to the original Pokemon games is still absent in this game. And every time, I mean, I've heard rumors that it was going to come with Gen 2. I've heard rumors that it was going to come at the end of the last year. I've heard rumors that it was going to come, a month after the release. I've heard rumors that it's going to come at the end of this year. And it just seems that no one tends to know. And that's the thing. That's another thing I want to bring up. Niantic keeps promising things for the future. Well, unfortunately, the core game is suffering right now. And I've talked about a few of these reasons in my original The Current State of Pokemon Go, and I'm discussing a lot of them now, but the core game is suffering. You cannot just leave this core game in this condition and expect people to just, tough it out. You can't just expect people to just stay with you, stay loyal, keep paying you, keep playing, when the core product is bad. So, yeah, you can keep promising in the future, in the future, there are going to be Gen 3, Gen 4, Mega Evolutions, all this craziness, the future's going to be so good. But what about the core game right now? It's suffering. It's bad. It's gotten monotonous for people like me who are in their 30s, level-wise, not age-wise, but still, it's just... okay. Anyway, here leads into another one of my problems. There are still no legendaries. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't ever use legendaries in the core games. I train them from time to time, and yeah, they're all cool, don't get me wrong. Legendaries are badass. But it's just kind of the fact that they're OP. Most legendaries are OP. And that's kind of the purpose of them. And it's cool, it's fun. Don't get me wrong, it's fun to beat the Elite Four a few times with them. And, just basically measure out how big your dick is. But the problem is, in Pokemon Go, that legendaries have yet again been rumored to come out since the get-go. It's like, oh, when's Pokemon Go going to have their legendaries? Oh, next month, at the end of the year, when Gen 2 comes out, like right before Gen 2. I've heard that it was going to come out right before Gen 2. I've heard that it was going to come out with Gen 2. I've heard that it was going to come out at the end of 2016. I've heard it was going to come out at the very first month of 2017. All of these predictions have been proven to be false, as it is now March of 2017 and still no legendaries. Now, yet again, to go back to my second point, I had read something recently that said, oh, well, Niantic is planning on doing it by the end of the year. Like, I barely play the game enough right now to even warrant the fact that if that is going to be the next major update, which, God, I hope it's not, but if it is, I'm not going to wait till the end of the year and keep my hype going for Zapdos, Moltres, Articuno, Mewtwo, and Mew, not even knowing about the Gen 2 legendaries. They could come out in 2019 for all we know. And at the pace that Niantic goes, I wouldn't be too surprised. And when we actually talk about, because it's not just their update feature, it's not just their lack of updates, I guess I should say, and their lack of timely updates, we'll say that. It's also the fact that the game is just, yet again, suffering right now. Let's look at gyms, for example. There they are a joke. Really, gyms are a joke in Pokemon Go. I mean, first of all, the first problem that I have with them is that you can only max out on 10. Now, some people could be saying to themselves, well, if you have 10 gems, what would that be? 5,000 Stardust, and what, 50, I want to say, no, 100 coins. 100 Pokecoins, 5,000 Stardust. And that sounds like a good bit, right? That's a good little bit. But here's the thing. When you're at a high level like me, that doesn't even level up one of my Pokemon. 5,000 Stardust, it takes me like 7,000 right now to level up one of my Pokemon. 5,000 Stardust is nothing. And 100 Pokecoins is okay, but it still takes me a week of consistently having 10 gems before I can buy anything worth a damn. And I wouldn't even care, you know what, honestly, because I understand they're just still trying to make money. I wouldn't even care if Niantic limited, past 10. If you had 20 gems but only got Stardust after the first 10. I wouldn't even care if they did that. But the thing is, limiting the max gem amount to 10, both hinders my want to actually go out and take more gems, or take any gems, really, because I know 5,000 Stardust is not incentive. And that kind of goes into another point I want to bring up, that Niantic is failing their hardcore community. They are failing their top players, because this is not a game with a meta of any kind. I mean, if you're past level 20, I would probably say 25, maybe even 30, you're pretty much lost at sea with nothing to do. You've caught most of the Pokemon you'll probably ever catch. Yet again, I've ranted about before that there's a few Pokemon I still don't have that I'll probably never get. But you have the vast majority of them. You probably have a good handful of max levels. You probably have, if you're like me, you probably have hundreds of top IV, maybe not 100%, but top IV Pokemon. I mean, so what's the meta? You would think it would be gym battling, right? Well, you're limited to 10 gems to cash out on, which means, for people like me, you're limited to 5,000 Stardust, which isn't even enough to level any of my, well, I shouldn't say any of my guys, any of my top guys. It's not enough to level any of my top guys up. On top of that, the Pokemon only level up half the CP that they normally do after like level 30. What the fuck is that? What the fuck even is that? Like, I truly don't understand what the thought process there is. Yet again, it's another way that players like me, and many others, I'm sure, I know, there's plenty of max level players at the game right now. But players like me are kind of at fault for getting, we're not rewarded for getting high level. I mean, so, like, okay, we'll use Dragonite as an example. They normally go up about 50 CP. After level 30, I think it's level 30. It might even be lower, actually. But I think it's level 30. At level 30, they go up 25 CP. So what's the point? So, when normally, if your character would level up, your Pokemon could level up 2 times, normally, a Dragonite would go up about 100 CP per level up. Now he only goes up 50. Why? Is it to, make sure that low-level players can still play? Well, gyms can already be attacked by 4 people at the same time, so it's not like that extra 50 CP would have really made the difference there. So is it so low-level players could solo gyms? And if that's the case, then, why are we rewarding low-level players? Why are we rewarding low-level solo players against high-level players who's been playing the game since launch, or at least the first few months, who are past level 30 and have, Pokemon that they want to keep leveling up, but aren't getting as much CP out of it as they used to, just because, for no reason. I literally have no fucking idea why they do this. And the last point I'm going to bring up here, or at least the last point I can think of off the top of my head, is the grind to max level isn't even fucking worth it in the end anyway. I mean, what's the point? Seriously, what's the point of getting to max level? There's no reward for it. Yet again, as I've talked about, your Pokemon get half the CP that they normally would have anyway, If anything, I think it should have been doubled after level 30. It's like, oh, you got level 30? Well, here, now you can have, twice as many badasses because your CP doubles. Like, I genuinely don't know why anyone would want to get to max level besides just for bragging rights. And it's not like the grind to max level is easy, because my god, does it take you months of grinding, of pure grinding, just to get to max level. And you know what? I hope Niantic fix all these problems. Oh wait, no. No, I'm sorry, Niantic. You're not getting away this easily. I forgot one last point that I didn't even know about. I was actually introduced to this after reading an article, but there are some Generation 2 Pokemon that you can't even hatch from eggs. Like, what the fuck even is that? So it's not enough that there are certain Pokemon that just never spawn in your biome, quote unquote, or in just, at least, are very rare in your biome. But now, back in the day, it's like, okay, well, maybe I'll never see a seal, for example, but at least I can hatch them. Oh, no. Well, now, I think it's 12 Pokemon. Yeah, I have a list right here. The starters, Chikorita, Cyndaquil, Totodile, that you can't hatch them. Tough fucking titty. You can't hatch them. You can't hatch Hoppip, Sunkern, Murkrow, Snubble, Swinub, Teddiursa, and Houndour. Oh, and apparently the commons you can't even hatch, which doesn't make any sense either. You can't hatch Sentreat, Hoot, Ladybah, or Spinarak. So if you want to get some, top IV versions of those Pokemon and a lot of candy, if you want to grind out candy for them, you can't hatch them. For what reason? Fuck if we know. Because Niantic is very, very bad about disclosing their reasons for anything. And this is another example of just a dumb decision. It's not even like okay, at least in the gym decision, the max of 10, of only being able to cash out on 10 gems a day that you own, like, I at least get that, kind of. It's so that there's not, in certain neighborhoods or towns, just some people that just absolutely steamroll everyone else. But I have no idea why the CP gets cut in half after level 30 for all Pokemon over level 30, not when your player level gets over level 30. And I have no idea why these 12 Pokemon were excluded from eggs. Niantic, if you're watching this, which I doubt you would be, but my god, if you are, please fix your shit. Your game is great. Your game could be so much better, but it's limited by all these flaws and more. There's surely more stuff I could talk about but haven't. And yet again, check out my first video if you want to see even more problems. Fix your shit, Niantic. Your game's better than this. I have a feeling you're better than this. I have a feeling that you're just really overwhelmed, really didn't expect it to get this big, but you know what? It's not going to remain this big if the game stays in its current state. Anyway, like always, I'm going to tell you guys to have a good day. And I want you guys to make sure to subscribe, like, tell your friends, tell your enemies, and check out that description because I'm going to try to put something in there. Have a great day.